constantly towards them. I'm just trying to make sure. Quite often we saw some impala with zebra, and obviously impala would be far more sort of up a cheetah's sort of size-wise from an antelope point of view. Okay, we're on the move. It's obviously they've seen something else that I haven't, and off they go. We'll try and keep up with them. It's a difficult area. There could be, oh, there's warthog. They're right off this baby warthog there as well, guys. So we'll try and keep up with them. So just hang on, Jandre, watch out. Looks like the warthog managed to make their escape, but there was a mother and 3 sub-adult warthogs that popped out. So obviously the cheetah weren't ever looking at the zebra itself, but they were focusing on the warthog. Sorry guys, just be on the radio for a second. Sorry James, still heading towards Shabam. They just unsuccessfully chased warthog. You can hear the zebra alarm calling, even though the cheetah completely ignored the zebra and ran straight after those warthogs. There was a female warthog with 2 or 3 little ones there. It is quite difficult to get you into a nice open viewpoint in this bush. They are fortunately heading towards a slightly more open area. And as you can imagine, in the summer months, it would be near impossible to keep up with them through here. They are going into a very good area. There's quite a lot of general game. There's a big herd of impala almost exactly where they're heading when we first started out looking for them. Nice little open patch coming up, so I'm just going to zoop on ahead. So, this is only my second cheetah sighting since I've been at WildEarth. Well, third, but it's the same cheetah on the same day. And Deb and Anne is just saying this is their first ever. So, you're just as excited as me, I guarantee. Very, very exciting to be with cheetah. And nice to have them up and on the move. Sorry guys, just going to be on the radio again for a quick second. James. They're probably going to come out very close to Shabam Junction with Treehouse Road. So hopefully we are lucky enough to keep following these cheetah for quite a while, and we might even be lucky enough to see them hunt and kill successfully. So Joanne is wondering, Is it possible, or do they lose their table manners like lions that are killed? They will snarl and possibly slap at each other a little bit, but nothing to the same degree as lions around a kill. Far more gentle. Just going to jump up again and try to get ahead of them or parallel to them. There's some impala right in front of those cheetah. I'm going to move around. Okay, I'm just going to let Chandra show you where the impala are quickly. And that cheetah's sitting up and has spotted them. It is a very difficult area for us to be able to see everything. Just lost visual of the impala, but I'm sure they're still there. I'm not sure where the cheetah spotted them, but probably 100 meters in front of where they are now. There's a herd of impala. I just saw a couple of them move through the bush. And I think the cheetah might have missed them because they're going to lie down. So where we're sitting right now, Jandre, is the impala right there. So the cheetah actually haven't spotted the impala, even though they're right in front of us. There's a whole herd. I can see a couple of males. Maybe it's a bachelor group. You can hear that fish eagle in the distance. So guys, I'm just going to be on the radio again for a quick few seconds. We're going to try to get Jamie to come in so we can position her where the impala are, because they're very close to the road, so we can cover both angles. Jamie, if you head back towards Philemon's cut line, there's a herd of impala on the road. We're probably 70 meters from the impala to the south of the road. It seems impossible that the cheetah haven't seen those impala right there. But one must remember, us sitting in the vehicle, we're a lot higher. So we've got to remember what a cheetah is looking at is much lower, so looking right into that bush and grass. So it is possible that they do miss them sometimes. I'm hoping they hear them, and the impala are about to walk right onto a more open area. So it's possible the cheetah will spot them. And Jamie, just stand by where you are there. So now we've positioned both our vehicles in the sighting. None of the other game drives are out yet, so amazing that we're able to do this. So we have Jamie waiting 70 meters away from us with the impala on the road in front of her, and we are now with the cheetah. So if they do speed off, it'll going to be much easier for you guys to get the best sighting, because you can just jump across on with Jamie, and then we will try then follow in a bit later. these two adult cheetah males here, part of a coalition, and Silma in the Netherlands is wondering how old are these guys possibly. Silma, quite difficult to judge, but I would say they're definitely adults, probably in their prime, so I'd probably guess between 7 years old. The one does have a slight cataract forming on its eye, so maybe even a little bit older, 7 to 10 years old, but they don't look like they're particularly old animals. I would say closer to 6, 7 years old. You see the ears still nice and round, not too many tears, and they don't have too much scarring on their face either. Guys, lunch is just down the road. So we've got this coalition here, and Linda said she's quite surprised to see 2 cheetah together. She thought they were solitary like leopards. Linda, male cheetah, if they have more than one male born to a litter, they will form coalitions for life from that. I've seen a coalition of 4 male cheetah before, and they will stay together and defend an area. The females are solitary, and the only times you will see them with another cheetah is when they're mating or when they have cubs. So here, Jean-Ray, to show you where Jamie and Andrew are waiting right next to the impala. Hoping one of these guys manages to spot the impala. So here we go. You can see there's Jamie and Andrew through the bush. There we go, having a wave, and you can see just off to the left of them is the impala, or the right, sorry, our left.
I'm not seeing any.
Okay, so from Jamie's bonnet, probably 2 meters or so, you just see their tails flicking, the movement of their tails through the bush. So we've been watching these cheetah hunt, and hopefully they will hunt again. Georgie in Alabama has been wondering, do they hoist their kills like a leopard? So if they've killed an impala, would they put it in a tree? Georgie, unfortunately, they do not have the physical strength to do that. So they're so specially designed for speed that they wouldn't be able to do that. Also, their claws are only semi-retractable, and so they're not as sharp, so they'll be blunted quite regularly because they're walked on. And that's also a special design for speed. But what they will do is they will try eat it as fast as possible, because they do lose a lot of their kills to other predators, to lion, to leopard, to hyena. They are sort of the bottom rung of the larger predators. Wild dogs will chase them, leopard will chase them, hyena, and their biggest possible threat is lions. Lions do kill quite a few cheetah. What have they seen behind us now? So since we've been speaking about cheetah interacting with other predators, Christine from North Carolina is wondering what would happen if they happen to run into any of these other predators. What would happen is, Christine, they would run as fast as they could. A couple of, or maybe a month or so ago, Brian and I actually saw 2 cheetah chased by the quarantine male leopard. And so leopard would chase them, lion would chase them, hyena would chase them, and they're very, very skittish around hyenas. I have seen coalitions of males actually fight with hyenas before to try to defend a kill, but only a single hyena. As soon as a second hyena arrives, they make a quick disappearing act. It's possible that they might rest for a little bit, and I'm hoping a little bit later they might make their way towards the treehouse waterhole for a drink. But isn't this wonderful to have these guys on Djuma? We've only had a handful of cheetah sightings since I've been here. This is my second. Scott's had one. I think James and Jamie have each had one each. So 5 or 6 only in quite an extended period. We can see these guys are resting at the moment, and we do spend quite a lot of time with sleeping cats. And Alice from Ohio is asking, do they sleep as much as lions? Alice, they're probably definitely not as active as lions. Sorry guys, just give me 1 second. Just stand by, Wendy. So they do sleep quite a lot, but they will generally sleep more in the evenings, and they'll be more mobile during the day or at dusk at dawn. But they do sleep a lot less than lions. So unfortunately it looks like those impala are moving further away and the cheetah didn't notice them. You can see as they've moved off, they've stopped here in the shade of a weeping wattle. And Dennis from Lakeville would like to know, does the shade increase their camouflage? Dennis, probably not, but it increases their comfort. It's quite a warm day today, 27 degrees Celsius, which I think is in the 70s Fahrenheit. And it is probably just more comfortable for them to lie down in the shade and out of direct sunlight. So as you can see, we've been following on the sunrise safari and now on the sunset safari. We've been following these guys through some quite thick bush, bashing and crashing. And Yvonne's noticed that says the cheetahs seem to show almost no regards for the humans, unlike the lion and leopard that sometimes show a little bit towards the vehicles and towards us. Well, Yvonne, it's because they don't really see the vehicle as a person. I'm sure if I got out and started walking, it would be a very different reaction. I'm quite sure they would run away. So a vehicle's only been around for about or just over 100 years, and animals do not have an instinctive response to it yet. So if you drive carefully and considerately around these animals, and one must also remember these animals have been seeing cars since they were cubs, and it is just part of the scenery for them. They know that vehicles don't really put any pressure on them. If I had to drive too fast or drive my vehicle straight at them, that would probably disturb them. They probably would run away or move off slightly. Obviously, we don't want to do that. So they smell petrol and oil and that, so they don't really see us as humans as such. But if I had to get off the vehicle and they could see my bipedal figure, the upright figure of man, that would probably cause them to run away. So as we raced after those cheetah when they chased those warthog, Peter from North Carolina is wondering that if I possibly might have affected their hunting, lessened their success chances because they can only hunt during the day, unlike the other cats. Well, Peter, unfortunately, I don't think we did there. The warthogs saw the cheetah far before they saw us. And you must remember, most of the vehicles here animals ignore vehicles completely here. And so they took off and started running after the warthog far before I started driving quite quickly. So I don't feel that we were interfering there. And as to the fact that cheetahs only hunt during the day, that is a complete fallacy. I've seen cheetah hunt at 9 o'clock at night. Like all predators, they are opportunists. One of the reasons they do prefer to hunt more during the day is due to the fact that there's less competition from hyenas, lions, and leopards. So it's not that they cannot hunt at night or whatnot, it's just they have a better chance of not losing their whatever they catch to one of the other predators. So for those of you who might have joined us a little bit late on this sunset safari, and particularly for Sandy and Mavis, who just wanted a little update because they're a little bit late joining us, they would like to know whether this is a mating pair or two males, or is it the same pair of males we saw this morning? It is the same pair we saw this morning, a coalition of males, two cheetah brothers, and they are probably now about 2.5 or 3 kilometers from where we left them this morning, and we saw them very recently unsuccessfully chase some warthog and zebra, so it's taking a break after that, and unbelievably they stopped about 60 meters from Impala and they just didn't see them. I was hoping they might spot those Impala. I'm quite sure they're probably going to move again quite shortly. For those of you who weren't on the sunrise safari, we did speak quite a bit about how and what distances cheetah can move. A male coalition like this covers a vast amount of ground, patrolling territories and looking for ladies. So they are more than likely going to move again in the next couple of hours, and even into the night there, and they might move quite far from where we have them at the moment. But I've been lucky enough to see many cheetah in my years in the bush, and also probably the first kill I can ever remember seeing from start to finish when I was about 3 or 4 years old was 2 male cheetah killing a baby impala. So I've been very lucky with all the stuff I've seen in the bush, and that is probably the first kill I can remember actually physically seeing. Just give me a second, guys. I'm just going to call Lee, who's coming in to join us with these cheetah. Jamie's doing it for me, don't worry. So I think these guys have settled in for the next while. I don't think they're going to move too much, possibly for the next half an hour to an hour. So unfortunately they just didn't spot those impala that were on the road in front. And I'll just grab my binoculars quickly and have a quick look to see if I can still see any of them. I'll ask Jamie as well, since she's closer. Jamie. Do you have any visual of those impala at the moment? Okay, so Jamie's just letting me know that those impala have moved further into the block, and these cheetah are now lying down, so probably nothing going to happen for the next little bit. So Jamie's going to disappear on and see what else she can find. But don't worry, we're going to stay right here and keep up and see what happens with these boys as they continue on this afternoon. I'm sure they are going to move, but when, you never know. And as I say very often, the most important weapon in your arsenal when you're out in the bush game viewing is patience. How's it be? Good. So you can see they're far more alert when they're resting than, let's say, a big pride of lions, and you see how flat lions sort of can go. Where there's cheetah being right at the bottom there of that sort of predator hierarchy, they are definitely always far more alert. So he's going to go join. Oh, there's a nice stretch happening. He's probably just going to lie down next to his brother there. Flop. roll over. So we can see the cheetah resting now. Elise was saying she thought cheetah needed to rest quite a long time between hunts. Well, that was a really sort of half-hearted effort at chasing those warthog. Didn't even sort of get beyond second gear, and nowhere near sort of fifth gear. So I don't think they expended too much energy in that chase. So I think they're resting because it's a bit warm, but they definitely will move on again. So if you guys hear that click click, don't worry, it's just me taking a few pictures. So why don't you guys do the same and grab some screenshots of these two boys. Looks like they're going to be on the move again. Maybe they will spot those impala this time. That wonderful late afternoon light on them. Oh. See how their heads almost turn in unison there, like they heard something. So we're going to stand by here so we can see more carefully where they're going to go, or if they are in the hunt. I'm going to grab my binos again to see if I can see if there's anything beyond where they're looking. So we're just looking. So it sounds like there's a zebra walking straight towards them at the moment. And we saw when they chased those warthog, we thought they might be after that zebra foal, but they completely ignored the zebra. And said a zebra is quite a dangerous proposition for a cheetah. And a stallion can be an incredibly violent creature, and a zebra will defend itself, and those teeth and hooves are incredibly dangerous weapons. It's very unlikely that even two male cheetah would take on an adult zebra, and I don't think that zebra even knows that they are there. However, if there's a small calf in this group that is walking right past them, it might be a very different story. Oh, there's an impala behind them as well. They're in the middle between zebra and impala at the moment. You see it there, Jean-Andre? Walking between those two marula trees. And the one thing what normally happens where there's one impala, there should be one or two more. There we go. Jean-Andre, let's come back to the cheetah quickly. Definitely got a little bit more. It just sat up there. and there's impala and zebra all around them. See, what it looks like the cheetah are doing at the moment is just watching that group of zebra, maybe checking if there's a foal. At the moment I've seen two impala go off to the left. I'm just hoping one comes a little bit closer to them. If they were to grab something and start feeding, Kelly from Minnesota was wondering, do they actually chew their meat or they sort of gulp it down? They'll bite it into manageable bits and then swallow. They don't really chew, say per se, like we would, or one of the herbivores would. They have their teeth are designed to cut, so they will cut them into smaller pieces, while we will have to sort of munch on it for a while to get it to the piece, the size we would need to be able to swallow. Just keeping quiet and having a look with the binoculars beyond the cheetah. Zebra have moved past and up to the left of where they are. Another zebra went right across the face of them. Two impala moved to the left, but they didn't spot the impala, they only spotted the zebra. And it looks like their sort of level of alertness has dropped a little bit now. Can't see where that impala went, but I think he's sort of passed out of their visual radius at the moment. Obviously, quite a few of the lion prides and individual leopards in this area have names, and Crystal from California is wondering, do we name the cheetah? And if so, do these gorgeous boys have a name? Crystal, we probably don't name the cheetah. We don't really name the cheetah. Not sure, but the reason probably why is because they have much bigger home ranges and we don't see them that often. And they do move. So these two boys don't have a name, but I think you can quite safely call them the Cheetah brothers, because they are certainly litter mates and part of the same coalition. So you can quite happily call them the Cheetah brothers or the Cheetah bros. Now there's an impala alarm call, and it wasn't at the cheetah. See how they immediately popped their heads up, became much more alert? There's impala. Not sure what they're alarm calling at. I'm pretty sure it's not at the cheetah. James and Scott are still around. I'm going to ask them if they can possibly have an idea what's going on down there. James. Oh, it sounds like they might be fighting. It just suddenly thought I heard what sounded like two males locking horns. James or Scott? So guys, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. I can see an impala jumping up and down and being very nervous. Have a look at my binos. I think there's very possibly a leopard or a lion over there, because I think just from that alarm calling, and it's definitely not at these cheetah. Jamie. Jamie, there's impala alarm calling to the sort of south of us. Definitely not at these two cheetah. If you could check Treehouse Road. Okay, copy, yeah. No. Zebra impala have moved off from the cheetah, and the cheetah are now quite alert to where these other impala are alarming. It's all happening here around Treehouse Road, Shabam Junction. So Jamie's going to go see. There could be a leopard just here. So we've got vehicles going to go check there. We're going to stay with these guys. And as we saw the last time I saw cheetah here, they were chased by quarantine young male leopard, and maybe we have a bit of a sort of deja vu here. Will these two cheetah be chased by a leopard again? So we have only seen cheetah a handful of times since I've been here, and Lynn and Ataria is wondering, are they not common here because of the thick bush we have? Lynn, the fact that cheetah only stay in wide open grasslands is a bit of a myth. They are just as at home in woodland like this, and it doesn't actually curb their hunting too much. The largest meta-population of cheetah left in Africa is actually the Greater Kruger National Park, which is the majority of which is reasonably thick woodland. So there are more, believe it or not, more cheetah in the Greater Kruger than in the Masai Mara. What it does do is it makes them a little bit more difficult to find. And as we noticed today, they don't like to walk down roads. They tend to try walk through the blocks, which obviously makes it a lot more difficult to track them. And with the winter months and the grass being quite low and the bushes sort of easy to see through, we are able to see them more often. And it's possibly in the summer months with long grass and whatnot, we won't even pick up tracks and they will disappear and pass pass through an area without us even knowing. For those of you who weren't on the sunrise safari this morning, we discussed a little bit about cheetah and their genetic issues. And James Bear said, did they not hit a genetic roadblock and they could be heading for extinction? Well, James, that's very, very good. They did about 10,000 years ago. They think they can genetically trace the cheetah down to less than 20 individuals. So all the cheetah left in Africa come from 20 animals or so. And what this does, it does cause a bit of a problem for them because there's not a lot of a variety in the different cheetahs' immunities to diseases. So disease can be a very big threat to cheetah and can rush through a cheetah population quite quickly. As whether they are heading for extinction, it is a possibility. And the cheetah numbers have come up a little bit in the last few years, but they could just be one of the failed arms of the evolutionary tree. So, chatting about the Masai Mara and the Serengeti and other cheetah populations in the rest of Africa, Pamela's wondering, are these cheetah the same as what we would find on the open savannas of East Africa in the Masai Mara and the Serengeti? Most definitely, and they'd be very genetically similar, Pamela. So they will be able to mate. They are the same species, as is a lion from up there would be able to mate with a lion from down here. So they are exactly the same species. With lions, though, you might find the lions in East Africa might have a few sort of quite different genetic traits to the ones from here, and that's due to where they live. Whereas with cheetah, because they did have that such sort of bottleneck about 10,000 years ago, that their genetics and immunities and what they can are immune to and can diseases they can fight and different things like that will be exactly the same as it was, or be very almost identical between the two. You off? No, I haven't heard. I can't get Scott on the radio though. Okay, cool. Cheers, thanks Lee. We're just going to reposition quickly, get us a little bit closer. So while we're busy repositioning, we're going to pop across to Jamie so she can say hello and give you guys a quick update, and maybe she might have found a leopard or something down where those impala were alarm calling.
So guys, welcome to a very, very exciting sunset safari. I apologize for being absent, but those cheetah were just too exciting to miss. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Jamie and I have Andrew, the aardvark, on camera with me. And what we've been up to while you've been with those cheetah is just looping around the area just to double check and see what those alarm calls were and what those impala were shouting at just a little bit earlier. So I'm not far at all from where the cheetah are. I've just been looking very, very carefully into this block to see if we can see something. And at the moment, I'm not picking up any impala, and I'm not picking up any tracks, but I still double checking this road very, very carefully. And obviously, as you saw earlier with those cheetah trying to unsuccessfully hunt the waterbuck, sorry, big root, they were obviously in the mood to hunt and feed, and I think I've just spotted the impala that we're alarm calling. Yes, I have. They all seem to be very calm, but I want to see which direction they're looking in. Got quite a large herd here, and these would have been the ones that were calling a little bit earlier. Stop in a moment and we can just see if any of them are still on edge. And of course, a cheetah hunt is something that we would absolutely love to. A cheetah hunt is something that would be so exciting to get on camera, which is why I've also been hanging around in this area just in case something does happen. Then at least there are two of us to be able to follow them. And these guys could well be in for a late lunch of impala. There's lots and lots of them moving around in here, and the wind will work perfectly to the cheetah's advantage at the moment. It looks as though some of the males are still calling. The female impala do go into a second late estrus, those of who didn't fall pregnant with the first estrus, so a couple of them are still, that is why that male is calling like that. But that's a very different sound to the one that we heard a little bit earlier, which was the very panicked bark of the impala, and I heard it from my position and Brent heard it as well. So I'm fairly certain this is the group of impala that was calling. I'm just going to, in a moment, I'm going to get hold of Brent and just let him know that I am here. And they all seem to be pretty calm. There's still one or two members that keep lifting up their heads and looking in different directions. And there's a nice mixture here of this young males like this one, and then a couple of females as well. So there's still a very, very strong chance that these cheetah could head in this direction. Let's shift forward. That one female is still got her attention focused on what's happening off to the right of us. She does seem fairly alert. That's the one that's been, and she's actually been looking off in that direction quite a bit. I think that they are aware of something in terms of a threat. I'm not sure if it's the cheetah or not, but it could well be. We are very close, so I'm just going to shuffle forward slightly so that we can see what's going on. It's a really, really exciting afternoon. Lots of action here. And I know that cheetah sightings are often very brief on these wild safaris, so it's been amazing that we've been able to stay with them for so long. I've got these impala here, but there's no sign of anything else. So I haven't picked up tracks of any other predators that might sort of incite that alarm call from the impalas. So what could have happened is the wind might have swirled around a bit and just alerted them to the presence of the cheetah, or at least alerted them to the threat of something. So they could well be just on a sort of aware and nervous, but they're not quite sure what the threat is or where exactly it's coming from. So, just to give you guys a bit of an idea, I've said that this herd of impala but they can't sustain it for very long. So they're going to have to, if they are going to try and hunt these impala, they're going to have to try and sneak up on them. And at the moment, the wind is doing this quite a bit, and it's changed direction a lot while we've been trying to figure out what these cheetah are going to do. So right now, it's coming in over my shoulder and straight across to the impala, which could well be what elicited that alarm response. They just got that sudden whiff of predator smell. So at the moment we're just going to sit nice and quietly and listen to what's happening. But there is a definite possibility that if the wind shifts, those cheetah might try and just hop up and creep up on them. But they're going to have to get a lot closer than they are now before they initiate any kind of chase. Because although they reach those top speeds, they cannot sustain it for too long. And especially in this block, it's going to be a little bit tricky for them. They're going to have to do lots of twisting and turning. It is not the thickest block, but there are lots of trees in the way. So if there is a hunt, there's going to be a lot of moving around between trees. So they'll have to make sure that they get nice and close. And cheetah are renowned for being very, very clever about the way that they adopt a hunting strategy. They very often utilize fences in the area to try and chase prey towards it, but they have been known to even use vehicles as cover to try and sneak up on their prey. And that just depends on what they've learned. I'm just keeping an eye on that one male. He's sort of moved forward off to the side of the group. He looked very alert, but I think it's just hormones that are making him a little bit lively. So definitely a very, very exciting afternoon. And in the space of 2 drives, you guys have actually seen 2 initiated hunts from these 2 male cheetahs. The first was the waterbuck with Brent this morning, and then again with the warthog this afternoon. So they have been trying. And these impala are definitely looking relaxed now, which is good news for the cheetah, because it gives them a much better chance of being able to sneak up on them if they're not too alert. There you can see most of the herd are actually feeding, like this male. And they are nice and calm and relaxed. The wind still isn't in the cheetah's favor, which is interesting because it was just a little bit earlier when I was a little bit closer to those cheetah. times. Look how many impala there are as a possibility. And what we do also know is that the cheetah immediately lifted their heads in response to those alarm calls. So we know that they know that there are impala here. It's just a question of them waiting for the right time, possibly. You can see or hear the impalas making that rutting call. And that second estrus that females go into is why we hear the males making those sounds so late into the breeding season. Their breeding season, their main breeding season, is actually over, but there are some females whose first pregnancy might have failed, so that's why they are still calling like that. So guys, apparently the cheetah are up and about, so I'm not going to keep you here any longer with the impala. I'm going to send you back across to Brent, and we'll see what's happening on that side. Hopefully catch up with you with the cheetah a little bit later.
Welcome back, everyone. The cheetah have just got up. There are some zebra off to the left of them. So where the cheetah are sort of looking at the moment, and back down again. Murphy's Law. But I do think they are definitely hungry, and they are definitely going to hunt again at some point. So it is worth hanging around with them. Unfortunately, it is quite a thick area, so it can be quite difficult to stay with them when they are hunting. But don't worry, we will do our absolute best. Sorry, I was just listening for a second. I can hear the zebra moving. I can't really see them. I saw them briefly as they passed through the thickets. There is an incredible amount of game very close to where these cheetah are at the moment. So anything is possible. A hapless impala might meander in a bit close. The zebra, I feel, are just too big for these two male cheetah. Copy, thanks. So there are some other vehicles making their way here. So just give me a second. Sorry guys, I just need to listen to the radio. quite often, if you guys follow lots of pictures and stuff on the interwebs, you'll often see pictures of cheetah in trees. And Robin's asking, do they climb it to get a better vantage point? So they definitely are not able to climb like a leopard, and they definitely can't hoist. They don't have the physical strength and the right sort of body structure and foot structure for that. But where there's fallen down trees or easily climbed trees, they seem to be a big fan of fallen down marulas. They will sort of use the easy slope to walk up the tree and use that as a vantage point. They also use it quite a lot as a scent markings point. Any that's a bit high, they like to defecate on top. In the Kruger, they very often defecate on top of the road signs, which are concrete, and they'll climb up and leave a little present on top there, and that's one of the ways they do mark their territory. And they also do it at the Manuletti, where quite a few of us stay, one of the big road signs there. Every time I drive in, I always want to check to see if the cheetahs left us a leaving. Strange enough, these two males could possibly be the same males that mark that position in the Manuletti, and that is a good 25, 26 kilometers from us, so a very long way. And that does show you the sort of vast home ranges that male cheetah are capable of having in an incredible open system like we have here. We have a little stretch and maybe a little greet. No greeting, just stretch. Probably going to lie down very close to his brother. Sorry guys, Ephraim's just trying to get a hold of me. He's moving into this position. So I'm just going to tell Ephraim exactly where we are, and it helps because RC's also asking exactly where we are. Ephraim. Oh, anyway, James has taken it over for me, so I'll just tell you where we are. We're off Shabam Road. We're just to the west of Shabam Road, very close to the junction with Treehouse Dam Road. Like quite a lot of the other predators don't necessarily need to drink, but they do like to drink. Cheetah are the same. If there is water available, they will drink, and quite often they will drink once or twice a day. Whether they do get majority of their moisture from their prey. Though, sorry guys, it's just the radio's got a little bit busy at the moment. James is handling it for me. So we can thank James for that, letting everyone know exactly where we are, so I don't have to talk on the radio, and we can keep focusing on these wonderful male cheetah in front of us. We're hoping that these guys are going to hunt again quite shortly, and different animals have different hunting strategy, and Brenda from Pennsylvania would like to know about a cheetah's hunting strategy. Is it similar to a lion's or leopard's, or like a hyena or wild dog that tires out their prey, or do they sort of do ambush predation like lions and leopards? So with the cheetah particularly, they're sort of an in-betweener. They don't tire out their prey. They're capable of incredible speed over about 100 meters, and they can get up to very close to 100 kilometers an hour, making them the fastest land mammal in the world. And they will basically quite often chase from quite a lot further because they do have that speed, whereas lion and leopard are only capable for that speed, and not even to the same degree of speed for a much shorter distance. So they will stalk to a point, then they feel they're close enough and they have a chance to be able to grab, and then they will take off into that full tilt. And their bodies are actually specially designed for that. They are far more flexible. They've got a very flexible spine, and you'll notice when they are at full tilt, quite often all four legs are off the ground. So they will sort of hit like that, and then the legs actually almost cross off the ground, and as they go again, very, very fast, and very special design, with a very, very flexible spine. So the bond between a cheetah coalition is a very strong one. Obviously, since they are litter mates and normally direct brothers, and have spent their whole lives together. Robin's wondering, do they allogroom like lions? They do, but not nearly as much, Robin. And that's possibly because that connection is quite a bit stronger. And obviously with their feeding practices and stuff, they're not nearly as aggressive as lions, and they don't hit each other as much. Not to say that they won't, but it's never nearly as aggressive as it would be with male lions. How's it, F? Very good, thanks. So, as we've been mentioning, this coalition bond is incredibly strong between cheetah because they are litter mates and they spend their whole lives together. Vanessa and Christine are wondering, would a female sort of affect this bond between cheetah? Cheetah have a really, really interesting sort of breeding structure, which is quite different from the other cats. With cheetah coalitions, only the dominant male in the coalition will mate. Unlike with lion coalitions, where they often fight each other for mating rights, the reason that this happens is that being direct brothers, the other male cheetah knows that he actually doesn't need to mate because his genes are still being passed on by his direct relative. So very, very different from the other cat species. So quite often when it does happen and a male cheetah is mating with a female, the other coalition members will just lie very close by and not really get too involved. The other very strange thing about cheetah and their breeding and mating is they are one of the only species in the world, and especially amongst the cats, the only cat species that needs a male-dominated sex ratio. So with lion and leopard, always they need more females than males. Cheetah is the exact opposite. there have to be more males than females, because female cheetah will often pass up on 3 or 4 male coalitions before they will choose to mate with one. There's quite a lot of different theories about this. The one that makes the most sense to me is because they did hit that genetic bottleneck about 10,000 years ago, where there were less than 20 individuals, and there's not a lot of genetic variety between them, and especially when it comes to immunities against disease and stuff like that. The female cheetah will be possibly looking for the best possible mate to mate with that has an opposite set of immunities to what she does, to give the cubs the best possible chance for survival. The other thing, every time she does pass another set of males, it does heighten her estrous cycle and stuff, so it gives her a better chance that the mating will actually come to fruition. So very interesting and very, very different from any of the other big cats. So speaking about breeding and cubs, Miss Jin from Dallas, welcome on the Sunset Safari. Miss Jin would like to know, do male cheetahs practice infanticide? And for those of you not sure what that is killing the cubs of another male cheetahs. Most definitely, like within all the predators, especially if the cubs are not theirs, cheetah will definitely practice infanticide and kill the cubs of another male. If we go in close on the cheetah's face, you will notice it's got a very distinct black tear mark. And Teresa is wondering does anyone know some of the old traditional legends about how a cheetah got its tears? And Teresa, you are in luck. I do know the story. It is actually a folklore that is in quite a few different African cultures, not only Zulu and Shangaan, as far as my reading has shown me, but also in Tswana. So basically, there was a very lazy hunter who was sitting under an acacia tree, being very lazy when he should have been hunting to try to provide food and whatnot for his family. And while this was happening, he noticed a female cheetah, and she was stalking an impala and chased it and caught it, and he sat there amazed, thinking, wow, how easy my life would be if I had a pet cheetah that I could use for my hunting, and I could just sit at home and drink beer all day. So he was still watching this cheetah, and the cheetah disappeared off and then came back with 5 little cubs. And what then happened is the lazy hunter looked at this and he thought, wow, imagine that if I had 5 or even just one of those cheetahs to do my hunting for me. So when the mother went off to have a drink of water, he rushed in and he stole these tiny little fluffy baby cheetah and to keep them for himself. And the mother cheetah was so distraught, she walked around for days crying and crying and crying, and she was so distraught that her tears stained her cheeks. And fortunately, this story has a happy ending. This lazy hunter kept the cheetah hidden in his hut, but the village elders found out about it and punished him severely and gave the cubs back to the mother. And obviously she had been crying for so long, so unfortunately by that stage she had already stained her cheeks. So that is the traditional story about how a cheetah got its tears. The lazy hunter was, of course, banished into oblivion. But the real reason, as we know, is to try help the cheetah with the glare of the sun being predominantly diurnal and crepuscular hunters. That dark around the eye does help with a bit of the sun glare. And they are up and on the move, so shall we be. And off we go again. Try zip up front of them. That beautiful. We've got this beautiful late afternoon light. We're going to pop the cheetah. They're walking straight towards us. Hello, boys. So it can be quite difficult to determine size. And Sandy is wondering, could I try to describe them and compare to size of a Great Dane? So they're quite a bit shorter than a Great Dane, but they are very tall. So taller than a leopard. For example, but much more slightly built, so they're way less than a leopard. So they're now changing direction completely again and heading almost due north where they came from. Have been watching these cheetahs for almost 2 safaris now, and Kathleen seems to think that the one has got a wound on its front left leg. Kathleen, unfortunately, I haven't seen anything, but I will try to keep a lookout. They definitely have been testing my 4x4 skills, taking us through some really thick areas today, and been testing Jean-Gray's ducking skills. That's Jean-Gray. They're very elegant animals. A lot more slightly built than lion and leopard that are quite a lot more robust. So since we've been spending so much time with these cheetah, I've got a question for you guys about cheetah, and I would like to know who can tell me where the original, where the derivative and the name cheetah comes from. How did cheetah become cheetah? Obviously, be quite interesting to know. I know, but let's see if you guys can figure out where the name cheetah came from. And you can send your answers to questions at wildearth.tv or use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Right, we're going to have to keep moving again as they keep moving. Fortunately, they are moving through a bit more of an open area than they were on the sunrise safari. Should I go through a hole? Hold on, Jean-Andre. Not going to go over that one, but you can see quite a few bones off to the right here. Those of you who've been watching for a while, this is where Peter Pretorius had the Birmingham boys with a the buffalo kill in, I think it was November last year. Guys, I'm just trying to jump up ahead of them. Such great opportunity for some awesome screenshots in this late afternoon light. I'm just going to try and get you guys in the nest. Oops, that's a big log. It jumped up and tried to attack Jean-Andre. Very violent, some of the sticks out here. Here we go, guys. Grab some screenshots as they walk through this beautiful late afternoon light and the sun shining through the grass. So they are heading towards Philemon's cut line at the moment, and fingers crossed that there's some impala there. Hold on, Jean-Andre. So they are sort of looping back on themselves at the moment, sort of heading back north. This is the first time I've actually ever seen them down here, so maybe they're doing a foray to extend their home range, which would be really exciting, which means we could expect them a little bit more often. through a little bit of a thick spot there, so I'm just going to try to get around. Saw me popping my arm there. I was just showing one of the other game drive vehicles which way they were going. There we go. You can see that beautiful late afternoon light as they're walking almost straight towards us. So for those of you who might be a bit late or just signed in, we're sitting here with two male cheetah, and they're on the hunt, and we're on Juma Private Game Reserve, and really exciting. Only the second time since I've been doing this that I've got to see cheetah, and this is definitely the best sighting. We spent a long time with them this morning, and now we're able to spend almost so far we've been with them the whole sunset safari as well, and heading out to a slightly more open area, hopefully, to make it quite a lot easier for us to follow them, and hoping there's some impala on said open area. So, very well done to Kathy, who got the answer to where does the original word cheetah come from. It's a derivative from the Hindu word cheetah, spelled C-H-I-T-A, meaning the spotted one. It is also the Hindu name for cheetah. And cheetah, up until quite recently, actually used to occur in India. They've only gone extinct there in the last couple of 100 years. Guys, better be careful. There's a hyena den just down the road. So we're just going to give the other vehicles a chance up at the front. We've been with them for the longest time and in the best spots. So we're just going to give them a chance. I'm going to do a bit of second guessing and jump up quite a bit ahead of them. While we do that, Gilly is wondering if I've ever seen a king cheetah. Unfortunately, I haven't. Although this is an area where they have been seen in the past. You see them, Jean-Jacques? They're going further north, or they're actually cutting towards the road?
Coming towards us.
Are they coming towards us?
Looks like it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this area is normally full of impala, but I'm not seeing any today. At the moment, they are heading to quite a dangerous spot if you're a cheetah. They are literally heading directly towards the hyena den. just an update on what Jamie's been up to. She's busy tracking Karula, so hopefully she's able to find her for you guys. I think her tracks were last seen around the actual Gallagher and Juma camps. From Matthew, who's 8 years old in Ohio. Matthew, I'm going to get your question now. I've just got to deal with the radio. Standing by. Three. So Matthew, who's 8, from Ohio, is wondering, are cheetah and leopards related? Well, Matthew, if I had to describe it to you, cheetahs and leopards are probably related. They do stem from a very ancient ancestor, which would have been the same. Like we could say us and chimpanzees are related. But they're probably a little bit more closely related. So a cheetah, if you look at its scientific name, it's different from a leopard and a lion. And that's because of a very small bone in its throat. So in leopards and lions, or the panthera cats, this bone is elastic, which enables them to roar. So a cheetah can't roar. That bone in a cheetah, and like your house cats at home, is ossified, so it's solid, and this enables the cheetah to know. Oh, sorry guys, the antenna's got a bit of a. Let me just go back again. Oh, there we go. Well done, John Drake. So that enables the big cats to roar, but with the cheetah, with that solid bone, they can't. Guys, just to let you know what's going on here, they are probably now only 100 meters or so away from the hyena den, and we are still heading straight towards it. Coming towards us, that they would smell a strong scent of hyena in the area, and that would make them avoid it. That is possible. They also could be curious, just checking out the terrain. They know they can run faster than hyena and get away from them. There. Let's try get skinny through here. But if they happen to find one of those sub-adults at the den by itself, they would definitely possibly try have a go at it, but definitely not if there was an adult around. Oh, I thought that one was going to jump up and say hello to me. I've said it quite a few times, but cheetah really don't like walking down roads. You can see it's quite apparent here. Get to a road, cross over it. Get to a road, cross over it. very, very close to the hyena den now. I'm just going to try and get us in the best position. So we actually, the hyena den's just off to my left here. And it doesn't look like there are any hyenas. They're out and about at the moment. Just going to have a quick look as they move past, and then I'm going to jump through again. They are not walking, they're walking, they're walking between the hyena den and Philemon's cut line. So they have avoided it. I'm sure they can smell it. I'm trying to see at the den. The den is just over there. Got my lefts and rights confused for a second. Just going to have a quick peek. And I think the cheetah are quite lucky. No one's home. But I'm just going to quickly do that, and you can see where the den is and where the cheetah are. And then we swing around, and the cheetah are just moving through the bush just to the right of us, or to the left of us, doing it again. Got them? Just behind this thicket. Okay. Well, let's get going before they head off again and we get too far behind them. Hold on, everyone. Off we go again. Oh. Thorny dead end. I've lost the visual, so Chandra, keep your eyes. Oh, I got one again. Well, as we continue bumping around, for those of you who might have tuned in a little bit late, or are a new viewer, welcome. We're following two male cheetah live, and Jimmerlin in Oklahoma would like to know how close we are to a boundary. Jimmerlin, for once, I'm quite able to say we're almost dead center in Zuma, so we are quite a long way from a boundary, and we're not at risk of losing them just yet. They are mobile and they can move vast distances, but for the next while, we are very happy to say the cheetah are almost dead center in Zuma at the moment. But we are probably, the closest boundary is 2 to 3 kilometers. But they are heading further into Zuma at the moment. Good. So have a look, guys. Might get some nice backlit shots and some screenshots of backlit cheetah. Oh dear. Why are you going that way, boys? They're going into a very, very difficult area, and there's a very big drainage line here that is very difficult to cross. So now I've got to sort of weigh up the options. Do we leave them and shoot around to Ingwe Alley as fast as possible, or do we take the chance that we're going to be able to follow them through this drainage line? I think the best option is going to be to shoot around. Hello? I'm just going to have another quick look where they're going. Jandre, you're a bit higher than me. Can you see if they've gone into the drainage? Oh, there they are. They're heading into the drainage. Okay, hold on, everyone. We need to Ferrari Safari to the other side. Otherwise, we have a good chance of losing them in that drainage line. So I apologize for the speed, but we don't want to lose these cheetah. Whoopa. And if there was any possible way that I could get the car through there, I would, but unfortunately not. So we have to take the long way around this time. I'm hoping they head towards quarantine. Sorry guys, just got to be on the radio for a second. I'm trying to call someone else in. Okay. I think it was around here that they dropped in. Craig. Craig, they've gone into the drainage line between Weaver's Nest and that Ingwe Alley, that little two-track that runs from Philemon's cut line. I've shot around to that two-track to see if they pop out on the other side. But general direction, sort of northeast. Jandre, a bit further down maybe. There we go. Aha. Don't you love it when a plan comes together? Nice spot, Jandre. So we did. Here we go. Hello. Pops out in front of us. Stations I've relocated on these to Shikankunk. They are now mobile north on that little two-track that runs on the northern side of the drainage line that goes through Philemon's Dip. Affirmative. Watch your head there, Johnny. So these two, the cheetah, went really, really close to the hyena den there, and Bree was wondering if they would leave enough scent to sort of let the hyenas know that they were there, or the hyenas would be able to pick up that they were there. I think if the hyenas came through quite shortly, that they might be able to smell that there was a cheetah there, but I think by tomorrow morning that would all be gone. Okay, I'm just going to try to figure, they are taking me through some terrible areas. I'm just trying to see the best way to get in there without having to put you guys through too much awful scratching and bashing. That was a big stump. So guys, there's quite a lot of radio traffic at the moment. I'll be back with you in a second. How's that, Chandra? Oh. they might have seen something or heard something. Confirm that other station who was in the Cheetah site with me. Confirm you have left the area. Copy. There's a dark green Land Cruiser with only 2 people in it. Tom, I saw you. I'm just not sure where the other vehicle has gone. I have managed to relocate them. So there is a possibility, if they sort of head left from where they are, that they will pop up onto quarantine. But if not that way, when they go that way. Oh, they're going to make me work hard again. I'm going to get massive forearms from this. Going right into a little strychnos thicket, which is very, very noisy to drive through. So I'm going to try keep a long distance visual of them, but pop round and then pop onto them again when they get to a slightly more open area. Walking straight towards a giraffe. That is definitely a little bit too big for them. You can hear the little testiculars, alarm calling at the cheetah. Giraffe has spotted them and is unfortunately just disappearing. There's a couple of giraffe there. And if John can just give you a quick shot of their heads above the trees there. And the cheetah continuing to walk straight towards them. Obviously no real threat to the giraffe. But giraffe seem to prefer to err on the side of caution when it comes to predatory cat in their vicinity. So, guys, I do apologize. This is a very thick block, so there's going to be quite a lot of scraping and noise. I will try to keep it to a minimum, but we don't want to lose these guys. So while we're still following up on these cheetah, oh, look at that. How's that for you, Jean-Jacques? You can see the towering giraffe looking down upon the cheetah. Wasn't that awesome, guys? Okay. So, whoa, we're not going to make it through there. So, just let you know, Jamie is off on foot, tracking a female leopard that's most likely Karula. And so, fingers crossed that she comes right there. Craig. What's your position? Copy. Come towards Twin Dams. They've changed direction in the block and they're heading towards Twin Dams Road to the south of Wahlberg's Eagle. Sorry about that, just letting Craig know he's on his way to come try see these cheetah. And they keep changing direction in the middle of the bush. So just keeping him updated so he doesn't go to the wrong spot. Going to zoom to jump ahead. They're going to come out onto Twin Dams Road shortly. Who knows, maybe they'll come into the Jumic Dam Cam as well. Let me just try, sorry, just trying to get you guys a really nice backlit shot here. And he changes direction. Murphy's Law. Okay. And the giraffe actually still behind watching them. I'm going to walk into the setting sun shortly. FM, they're about to come out onto Twin Dams now. Craig, if you're close, I'd hurry. If they go into this block further to the north, it's very thick. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to stay with them. So we will try our best, but as you might have just heard me mention to Craig, this is an incredibly difficult place to drive. Okay, guys, hang on. This is going to be quite an adventure going through there. So seatbelts on, and I think possibly hard hats and anti-thorn branch devices as well. Andre, please keep an eye on them for me, because I'm going to have to concentrate quite heavily so that we can just get through here. Where that little two-track comes out, they're headed right into these thickets here. You might be able to get my vehicle audio, but they are generally heading down towards Milwaukee. Stand by, there is a 2-track, I think, I'm not sure for the sighting while I was there. We've got a Impala alarm calling in front of us. Can't see the cheetah. I know the cheetah are there somewhere.
Cheetah's at your 2 o'clock.
At my 2 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go forward. Craig, do you have my visual? So, John, the cheetah, still saw the cheetah. I'm still not sure exactly where they
4
are.
o'clock.
There we go, we're with them now. So the Impala happened to spot them before they happened to spot the Impala. So dropping down into the Milwaukee drainage. Now we've got to find a spot where we're going to be able to do the same. Hold on tight, everyone. I think I see a way. Oh boy. Okay, guys, hold on. Genre, be careful of the thorns. Okay, you're okay? I'm going to use the water bottle. Okay. Sorry guys, some of the thorns have hooked onto the cables that are attached to the camera. So obviously we don't want to lose you, so we're just gonna, Genre is just removing them. So guys, while we try to find these guys again, we're gonna cross across to Jamie so she can give you an update and see what you've been up to. So you will not see us have
So guys, welcome back, and what an exciting cheetah sighting you've been having. So on my side, while you were just following those cheetah brothers around, we had reports that Karula had been just outside Galago camp. So we've gone racing up there, and we spent a lot of time trying to see her. Unfortunately, she disappeared off in a direction, and we weren't able to find out where she went. So there's a couple of cars off in that direction, just having a look, a couple of other guides. I've looped around to see if maybe she's going to come back towards the dam, the water hole. And let's see if we can follow up and find her. One thing I have noticed about Karula is that she is very, very sneaky. When she doesn't want to be found, she just disappears. And this is almost exactly where she disappeared on me the last time I had her. She was hunting off in this block to the north. So I do want to just check around, see if maybe she's come out towards the dam. It's been quite an interesting afternoon. Lots of rushing around and waiting to see what's going to happen. Very, very exciting. I hear that those cheetah were almost on their way to the hyena den, it looked like, which would have been a very interesting interaction. I'm not entirely sure what would have happened there, but I think that if the adult hyena, well, I know that if the adult hyenas had been there, they definitely would have chased them off and probably tried to kill them. So it's a good thing they changed direction when they did. We've got some guinea fowl here. Always really, really cool to watch the guinea fowl run, and I'm sure many of you will have seen Jurassic Park, and if you haven't, you should definitely watch it, and then watch how the Tyrannosaurus Rex is animated to run, and then watch how guinea fowl run, because the animators and the sort of the CG guys modeled it on the way that guinea fowl move, and they watched lots and lots of slow motion of guinea fowl running and then modeled it on that. So just an interesting little note as to various uses of the guinea fowl. And I think they might be after some seeds on the ground. They're just sifting through all of the dead grass looking for seeds and whatever else they can find. And I'm still listening very, very carefully just to hear if there's any alarm calls. Of course, now at this time of day, the francolins start to call all over, just as a sort of announcement to each other and other birds as to where they are. I can also hear a woodpecker in the distance. So lots and lots of activity in terms of bird life in and around the waterhole outside Djuma. But somewhere I'm sure that Karula is still hiding, and she's done this to me before, where she looks like she's going off in one direction and then she changes completely around and gets spotted going in the opposite direction. So that's why I've come down this side, because there are lots and lots of guides in the area looking around. So I've come down this side just to see if she pops back out here. And we don't want to spend too much time circling around the same area. So I'm just listening to the game drive radio very, very carefully. But for now, let's see what action there is at the dam and see if maybe she makes her way back along the drainage line towards the dam. So guys, I know that you have had a really, really exciting afternoon with Cheetah, and I also know that you hardly ever get to see Cheetah in such an amazing way as the sighting we've had this morning and this afternoon. And I know that Lynn in particular would like us to go back towards Brent, and I'm sure many of you would be keen to go back and see what those cheetah are up to. Unfortunately, the cheetah have moved off into a very thick block, and Brent, I could actually hear him on the Game Drive channel trying to coordinate a search to make sure that he can relocate them. So he is looking for them, but at the moment he's struggling through a very, very thick area with not much signal, which is why I'm just with you guys for now, just to give him a chance to try and relocate those cheetah. So I promise, as I'm sure he will, we will head back across to him. Just see the last few rays of the sunset setting over Vuyatela. It has been quite an exciting afternoon. There we can see all of those catfish flopping about that James and Scott entertained us all so amazingly with when they went in to catch them. And it is getting harder and harder for these catfish. The water is slowly disappearing, and very soon they're going to have to start thinking about estivating, so digging into the mud, making a nice mucus protective layer, and just shutting down their metabolism until the next rains. And it would make for very easy fishing for any one of the big birds in this area, something like a fish eagle. But I think that the reason these ones are still alive, even though they are so obvious, is they might be a little bit big for something like the storks to come and take on, which is why they're still surviving. So, still no word on where those cheetah are. I promise I will let you know as soon as we do. However, Karula was just off into the block on my left, so we're going to try and see if we can find her. It would be awesome to be able to end the day with that wonderfully beautiful cheetah. So let's see what we can do and loop around in that direction. Oh, sorry. I mean the leopard, not the cheetah. I've got cheetah on the brain because we've spent so long with them and we've talked so much about them. I'm looking for Karula, who is a leopard, not a cheetah. I thought I saw something, but it is in fact something. It's a duiker. I originally was sort of thinking leopard, and I think that might have been because my brain was sort of so desperately looking to see where she disappeared off to. But there is a little duiker moving through there. And very, very well hidden. And I think it's only because I'm looking so carefully for Karula that I picked up on that shape. Just tucked away in this drainage line. And you can see how very thick it is in some of these areas, which is why we had such struggle staying up with Karula. And the one thing about that amazing Karula sighting was at least our zoomies who are visiting Vuyatela camp got to see Karula. They had seen her just before we arrived at the sighting. So Cam and Vancy, they had an awesome sighting, really cool, and I'm very excited for them. And we also got to meet them just before the show. We had some great times just chatting to them, showing them the vehicles, showing them all the sort of behind the scenes stuff. So really cool, and I think they're having an amazing time. And they got to see Karula, which I know they expressed as one of their big wishes. So awesome to have them here, and definitely encourage all of our viewers to consider coming to visit. It is an amazing place. You see some amazing things. So there's not much happening here apart from that little duiker. I'm just going to see if I can move through. So apparently I'm visible on the Djuma cam. There is a 24-hour camera up on the other side of the dam, and we have been spotted. So I'm just going to wave hello. And it is always a great idea for those of you who might be joining us for the first time. The aardvark's just waving goodbye one more time. It is a very good idea if you're a new viewer and you are just joining us for the first time at the live safaris. If you aren't out driving with us in the morning and the afternoon, you can also log in and look at the Djuma Dam camera, which runs 24 hours a day. And you can see anything that we have on this reserve. You have a chance of seeing on the camera. So guys, in case you're wondering what's happening with the cheetah, They are about, but Brent is just trying to get out of the block that he's in and relocate them again. They've seen where they've crossed the road, so they know that they're there. Brent just has to make his way out and about of that drainage line. Somewhere in this area, sneaky Karula is hiding from us. So as we pass by the dam, and there's lots and lots of bird life in this area, James was just letting us know earlier that the lesser striped swallow is back in the area. They've started to be seen in various areas around the country, which is really exciting because it is our first sign of spring. So we'll be keeping an eye out for them. We definitely haven't seen them yet, but I'm sure they are on their way very soon. And they are one of the earliest bird migrants to return back. So we will be keeping an eye out for them, and hopefully a bird that some of you can add to your bird list. And we're going to be seeing lots of exciting bird life very soon. So I will be keeping an eye out for them. They are awesome little birds, and we had a nest. They built their nests out of mud and clay often underneath the eaves of houses. And they'll come back every single year to the same nest. They'll try and rebuild it, patch it up if it's broken apart while they've been gone. And then they lay their eggs and they raise their brood. And I sat and watched a swallow nest for a couple of months, from the beginning when we knew we were watching them line the nest with grass, to the point where the eggs hatched, and then you used to watch the hatchlings or the fledglings popping their mouths out of the entrance and just squeaking at their parents, squawking and begging for food, and these poor overtired and very harassed looking parents trying to feed them. It was great to watch. A friend of mine named one of them Jamie because she said it seemed to be the hungriest and constantly wanting food, which is very similar to my attitude to food. So those are definitely cool little birds. Very noisy, especially when they're nesting outside your bedroom window, but still highly entertaining. As we're looking around for Karula, B. Wilson tells me that Karula has disappeared in this area before, and that she must have a nice hiding place somewhere. And absolutely couldn't agree with you more. The first time I ever saw Karula was in this block over here. Wait, no, it was in this block over here, but still the same area. And honestly, I took my eyes off her I had to stay with my engine turned off because she was hunting. So I lost sight of her for maybe 2 minutes or so. And by the time I tried to reposition, oh guys, exciting stuff. Brent is back with the cheetah. I'll be back with you later.
It took us quite a while, but we have caught up with these two male cheetah, thanks to Scott and James, who went while we got stuck in that very thick area and went and waited and found them coming out on the road. We are going to try stick with them now, but there is quite a strong chance that we are going to lose them. So we will try our best. Also, with animals like cheetah, we don't follow them at night with a spotlight. So we will try our best, but I think this area they're heading into now is going to even the better of So unfortunately, apart from the fact that they're going into an impenetrable wall, our signal is very bad in this area. So I'm not going to be able to follow them through there. So we are going to lose them. And I'm deep in the bush at the moment. So it is unfortunate, but Scott and James are looping around on the closest road to see if they pop out there. Just 1 second, I just got to call them. Scott. Just waiting to hear from Scotty. Okay, we'll keep trying to call Scott while we move. Alright, so Scott's moved around and we do have a chance to stay with him a bit longer.
So guys, welcome back, and while Brent is just sorting out that stuff, isn't it amazing that we've had such an amazing amount of time spent with those cheetah? And I know this must be the longest cheetah sighting that WildEarth viewers have had, so really awesome stuff and a great privilege. And hopefully maybe these two boys are scoping out Djuma as part of their territory. The area that they were seen in this morning is perfect cheetah territory, so it could be that they're going to start to move in here. We never know. I'd love to go and look through the footage and see if it's the same male, one of them is the same male as we've been seeing. And I know that, well, I'm sure that many of you are stressing that we are over here and not with the cheetah. However, the biggest problem is that Brent actually doesn't have signal on the road he was on, so he's just got black picture at the moment. But he is racing around to loop back down and hopefully get one last visual of those two cheetah brothers, just so that we can spend the last possible few moments with them. So fear not, as soon as possible we will send you back across to Brent and those cheetah. And they've actually covered the most amazing distance since they were seen this morning. And it's interesting that they didn't do it. It's interesting that they didn't do it in one sort of consistent direction. They moved all the way south, changed their mind, and started moving all the way up to the northeast. So I'd love to know what's been going through their minds and why they chose to take this route and what it is they are looking for. I'm pretty sure before we sent you back to Brent, I was in the middle of a story. And for the life of me, I cannot remember exactly what it was I was saying. So I do apologize for that. I would finish the story if I could remember what it was about. I'm sure it had something to do with the lesser striped swallow, but I can't remember if we'd moved on from that subject or not. Andrew, do you have any idea what I was talking about?
I just remember you talking about building a nest, then you watch the nest, and
That's it.
yeah.
Okay. So Andrew doesn't remember either. So I think we'll have to put that particular story on the back burner for another time. I'm sure there was a reason behind it. And I'm just checking to see if Karula really did pull a sneaky move, and if she's come out off that road and onto this cut line. So far, no signs of her tracks. I have been looking. And this is exactly what she did to me the last time I was in this area. So I have a newfound respect for Karula. She is very, very sneaky. And I suppose that's a good thing if you're a leopard. And some of the other guides are also still in this area, circling around.
What's wrong with the leaves?
I'm just having a look now. Andrew's just spotted some swallows. We want to just see if it's the lesser striped. Gotta be a little bit tricky in this light. They're ducking and diving. Sure, I'm not too sure. But quite an awesome visual off in the sky there. I don't think that's the lesser stripes. They look a little bit too big in my opinion. I'm just going to have a look quickly in my bird book and look at the different swallows. It's very, very hard to see the size, the color of them, because they are so silhouetted in the light. Just going to shift out of the way for one of the other vehicles. Okay guys, one last view of the cheetah and I'll be back with you later.
Welcome back, everyone. Haven't these guys given us a real run for our money today? I'm gonna just wanted you guys to get a last view as they disappear into the thickets. I don't think we're gonna try follow them further. I know this block here and it's really, really bad, and it's unfortunate, but also it is getting to that twilight time of the day and also we're in a very low signal area, so we don't want to push them. And I said we don't put spotlights on diurnal animals like cheetah because of the pressure from hyenas. And as you can see, I have two monkeys who've been trying to make me do silly things behind, and that's why you could have heard a little bit of laughter in my voice. James was pulling faces at me, but we owe them a big favor for even just getting this last little look, because we wouldn't have been able to follow them through and stay with them. So what James and Scott have been doing is leaping ahead to help us stay with the cheetah. So thanks very much, guys.
They seem to have headed through there, alas and alack.
So we're gonna leave them be, and hopefully we can go find something else, or hopefully Jamie's leopard tracking has become a little bit more successful. We are on a very bad signal, and I understand it is jumping quite badly. So we're gonna cross you back across to Jamie, and we'll be back with you a little bit later.
So guys, we've just been discussing with one of the other guides which swallows these are, because it is interesting to see, and the answer is, we've managed to have a good look at them, the answer is a red-breasted swallow. So they're also a migrant species, and they are also back. So interesting to see that so many of the swallow species are coming and returning to this area. And I'll just show you just quickly how many different swallows we get in this area and why it can be just a little bit tricky to see what they are. But so glad that you guys got to see those cheetah for one last visual before it gets a little bit too dark. So there we have the red-breasted swallow. That's the one that we were looking at. It's quite a large swallow, which is what made me think it wasn't a lesser striped. But you can see how very, very similar all of the swallows are, especially in flight when you're struggling against the light. And there's also a couple of other species that we do find here. So we're going to start looking for the barn swallow or the European swallow, the white-throated swallow. There's lots and lots of migrants that will start to come through. So just a little bit of swallow instruction now that we have finally had to say goodbye to those cheetah. But what an awesome afternoon you guys have had with Brent. I'm still looking for Karula. I'm sure that she's here somewhere. I just spoke to one of the guides who said she did come north. She has been coming north, which is in our direction. He was out on foot tracking her for a little bit. So we're still going to see if we can loop around and maybe we get lucky and we catch a glimpse. There is still that chance. So let's hit the road and see what we can see. So I'm getting a lot of information about Karula from the various long-term viewers, and I do say a big thank you for that. It's awesome that you guys know so much about these animals and that you can actually share that information with me. So I'm really, really grateful. And apparently Kay tells me that Karula has always hidden her cubs or raised her cubs in this area. And Tina also would like to know whether or not I knew that Karula likes to hang out outside Final Control. So maybe what I should do when I pop past Final Control is just have a look around for her. I have heard that she does like this area. It is something that I've been told before. And I know that she was spending quite a lot of time in Buffelshoek over the last few weeks. And she was seen mating with that mystery male. So it's exciting to think that maybe she's coming back here. Maybe she is working on that instinct and that experience and knowledge to come back and raise her cubs in this area. So she was seen mating with that male, I think it was just when I started working here, so over 3 weeks ago. And she could well be pregnant and is just thinking about finding a good place to raise those cubs. We're still looking around. I'm sure she's hiding in this drainage line somewhere. So maybe that is exactly what's happening, and we can start to piece together the information thanks to the stuff that you guys have been telling me. And maybe that is what she's doing. Maybe she is coming through here to start deciding where she's going to have her cubs. And I just need to reposition this one light. I need some light on the side of my vehicle, and it is just pointing in the wrong direction, possibly displaced by a branch. So I'm just going to do that quickly so that we make sure that we don't miss anything. There we go.
Nice.
There we go. That might help to highlight anything we might miss. And I will get my spotlight out in a moment. However, it's just at that sort of turning point where it actually kind of disadvantages you at this kind of light level because it catches in the dust and you can't see as far. Okay, let's see what we can see. Come on, Karula, give us a nice surprise. It's been such a special afternoon. It would be awesome to finish off with a good visual of you. I'm certain she's in this drainage line somewhere off to my left. So I've got to keep looking for her. Just use my headlights to see if I can catch any of her tracks on the road. Also, I'm just starting to hear. Stop for a moment, see if it starts again. Definitely starting to hear the sounds of summer. There was a cricket that was just calling here, and I've started to hear geckos as well every now and again. And it has been a nice warm day. Of course, now it's decided it doesn't want to call anymore. But those are the kind of sounds that I'm getting pretty excited about hearing. It means that spring is on its way, and the days are getting longer. So exciting stuff. So guys, Brent has got some Duggar boys to show you, and I really want to concentrate very hard on just relocating Karula for the moment. So I'm going to send you back across to him, and I will catch up with you a little bit later.
Welcome back, everyone, and we're a little bit calmer now after being in amongst the thickets with those cheetah, and we with this big group of buffalo bulls that is just busy leaving Buffalo's Hook Dam. And unfortunately, sorry guys, I'm just caught there. There's a vehicle coming up behind me. I just need to move off the road so they can both view these buffalo. But they've probably been spending the majority of the day at the waterhole, and now as it gets darker, they're going to start moving. Off to the crests where it's a bit warmer. You can see they're full of the joy of life. It is a little bit warmer than it was last night. Last night was freezing, and I mean, now I'm already still driving around with no jersey on. So definitely, hopefully, that little cold patch is gone. Although I did hear some news from Steph that there was a big cold front on its way, which obviously fills me with dread. So you can see very old buffalo there. You can see the bosses really worn and busy ruminating or chewing the cud and taking grass up from its stomach, or one of its four stomachs, to re-chew and to get the maximum amount of nutrients from it. And obviously rumination can be a very important thing for these animals, especially during the dry season, to try and get as much nutrients as possible from what they are eating. So a very big bachelor group, and this area I've seen more really large bachelor groups than I've seen anywhere else. I mean, you could almost call them herds of buffalo bulls. Normally if you see 10 or 12 it's a lot, but we have often seen sort of, what was that, I think my record was 42 buffalo bulls together at Buffalo's Hook Dam. argument about to happen. Those two almost look like they might lock horns for a few seconds. Oh, doesn't like that. And the sounds these buffalo bulls make almost goes with them because they are sort of cantankerous old men. So I said they're probably just leaving the waterhole now, and they are probably going to move up to higher ground to settle down for the night. It's possible they might not move too far because Buffalo's Hook Dam is quite high up on a crest, so they might move off to this area behind us where it'll be slightly warmer during the cold nights of our winter. And I know when I say cold, it's nothing compared to what some of our viewers have to live through when winter comes. So we're quite lucky. And here I am, middle of winter, wearing a shirt, no jerseys. So we're very lucky with the weather we do get here. I'm very, very nervous of the cold. So we just saw those cheetah disappear, and Lynn from Michigan is wondering how far is the Matimba and the Styx lioness from those cheetah. Very far. Then they are on Arathusa, and we're up near the northern boundary of Djuma, and quite confident to say that at one stage today they were probably within about 3 kilometers of the mating pair. They are now probably 8-9 kilometers away, so they didn't get too close. This is the area where we were following tracks of the Birmingham boys this morning, so there is a possibility that those lions are about, and there have been some big herds of buffalo in this area, but I think the Birminghams have gone further to the sort of east, so I think the cheetah are safe for tonight from lions, at least anyway. But you never know. That's the wonderful thing about being in the bush. The Nkahumas could just appear, but I think for now the cheetah are on their patrol, and they'll probably be very, very far from Djuma tomorrow morning. But I'm sure someone will check the tracks. You never know. They might catch something, or they might decide to spend the night sleeping up on the crest between us and the northern boundary. So if I had to move, and obviously this is quite a formidable looking roadblock, what I'd probably do is just inch forward very, very slowly till they moved out of the way. I was hoping they would just move on through, but they are taking their time. I just keep the revs very, very, very low and just sort of crawl through them. As we can see, this bull in front of us seems to have some sort of white or grey coloration around his face. And Wendy from Chicago, wondering, is it their hair turning white with age? Well, Wendy, not. It's actually, there would you be looking at skin. It's a lack of hair. That hair would have fallen out or been rubbed off at some point. So that's a lack of hair around the face, is that white coloration you're looking at there. That's the skin below the hair. And with the older animals, you do still see a lot more sort of bald spots, not only on the face, but on the body, and areas that are rubbed quite regularly. There you can see that one next to him has got those sort of bald spots, but not nearly to the same degree. And like with people, some animals will be more bald than others. So we're going to leave you over to Jamie for a little bit, and then we'll be back with you for the last few minutes of drive. So just enjoy your time with Jamie while she says a good night.
So guys, what an amazing day it has been. It's been very, very quiet on my side. I had that really brief visual of Karula, but at least we know that she is in this area. And as some of the viewers have told me, there's a good chance that she might be scoping out areas to have cubs in the next couple of months. So very, very cool afternoon, and fantastic for all of you, obviously, to spend so much time with the cheetah. And I must be honest, I've really, really enjoyed this afternoon, just driving through the bush and really getting to know a bit of these blocks in a bit more depth. So it's been an exciting afternoon for me as well, especially just waiting to see if those cheetah were going to hunt and see what happened there. So very interesting times lie ahead, and it is now the most beautiful evening. It's got that rich African feel that you only get as the days start to get warmer. It's very dry, very, very dusty, but still with that incredible African smell. And it's definitely one of my favorite times of day. So guys, a big thank you for joining us all on the Sunset Safari. Tomorrow morning I will not be out. It will be James and Scott, but I'm sure you will have a fantastic time with them. So thank you for joining us as always, and thank you to Andrew for his wonderful camera work, especially tracking that swallow through the sky. And it is now the most magical afternoon. So guys, have a fantastic evening or fantastic day wherever you are in the world. I'm going to send you back across to Brent for the last few moments of the Sunset Safari, and have a great time. Thank you guys.
So welcome back everyone. So while Jandre and I were bashing through the bush, we happened to find a new friend, and Jandre begged me, Jandre doesn't have many friends, that maybe possibly we could take it with us. So Jandre, have you named your new friend yet?
Sipo.
Sipo. So this is an elephant leg bone, not something we've seen too often, so we thought it'd be quite fun to show it to you. We will definitely, maybe Scott and James can have a chance to show it to you in a bit more depth tomorrow. And I know there's been a lot of requests to do a cheetah fighting sound, which I promised to do, and now I've sort of dug myself into a hole, and I'm going to have to do it. So let me try remember what those cheetahs sounded like, and I'm going to come a little bit lower, so I'm sort of the same height as people. You know, a lot of people around here get quite upset when I stand above them, so don't want to make our new friend feel uncomfortable, but that noise of that cheetah fight was incredible, and it's not that deep growling like you used to with lions and leopards and things like that. So it's a lot more sort of hissing, sort of, and this. So it's almost like a domestic cat fight, but obviously a bit deeper and with a lot more intensity. So a really, really amazing sighting that was, and I've been very lucky with the amount of time I've spent with cheetah in my time in the bush. I'm sure Sipo might have seen a few in his wanderings when he was attached to the rest of the elephant, and but on that note, it's been really, really epic safari today, both the sunrise and sunset safari. Incredible to spend that much time with two male cheetah, and especially an animal we don't see that often. So from Jandre and myself, thanks very much for joining us on this safari. It's been wonderful having you. Thanks for your questions. We really do appreciate them, and we love being able to share our passion for the African bush with all of you wherever you are in the world. So from us here on the Wendy at Buffelshoek Dam, have a wonderful evening wherever you might be in the world, and please don't forget to join us for the sunrise and sunset safaris tomorrow. Good night.